刚结束的周末，因为2016奥克兰市长的选举，让所有人把目光聚焦到了同一个方向。最终的选举结果可以说是几乎没有悬念，工党国会议员 Phil Goff 高票当选新一任奥克兰市长。
To the people of Auckland who have put their trust in me, thank you for giving me your confidence. I will work hard to honour that confidence. Let's go out there now. Let's get on with the job. Let's make this city of Auckland, our city, a great place for all of us to live. Thank you so much for being along here and being supportive.
观众朋友们，大家好！今天呢，我们有幸采访到 Phil Goff， 我们奥克兰的市长，也是 Phil Goff 作为奥克兰的市长第一次接受我们华人媒体的采访，我是非常的荣幸。那今天呢，我们就来问一问我们华人最关心的关于奥克兰的几个问题。Hi, Mr. Goff. It's nice to see you today, and good to catch up.
Lovely to be on TV 33 again.
You are now recognized as the mayor of Auckland.The city that has a third of the country's population. And I believe that you have great plans. And as you have mentioned, your goal is to make Auckland, New Zealand economic powerhouse. What are you planning to do economically, socially, and politically to make Auckland one of the top cities in the world?
That's a big question. We're more than a third of the country's population, but even more importantly, we represent more than half of the entire country's growth. So Auckland is more and more important to New Zealand, and New Zealand won't succeed unless Auckland succeeds. So one of my first tasks is to work with government to make money available to invest in the infrastructure so we can build more houses and we can deal with traffic congestion, which gets worse every week. Every week we have another 800 cars on the road, and that makes for congestion and it makes for gridlock. So what do we need to do? We need to address the problem of shortage of funding, and the central government we'll need to work with them to get them to acknowledge that this city can't be funded in the traditional way through rates, but it needs investment in that infrastructure so that we can get underway the new public transport, the new housing that we need to make housing affordable and our roads usable. Secondly, and this is the responsibility directly on the Mayor and Council, it's to make our city the best governed and the best performing city in the country. So we have to find savings. I need to put restraint on rate increases so rates don't keep increasing and they can be kept affordable. And we've got to do that by finding greater efficiency, getting this city and this council to do more with less, to be more efficient and effective.
Thank you, Mr. Goff. And you started as a hardworking, highly competent politician who is now responsible for a super city that is going through tremendous changes. Yes. As you have mentioned, the traffic problem, the housing crisis. And what do you think is your biggest obstacle?
I think the real obstacle for Auckland is access to funding so that we can build the infrastructure we need. Because we're growing so fast, we're having to invest more and more money into providing the basic services so that housing can be built, and providing a public transport system, because no matter how much we keep increasing motorways, they will never cope with the increasing traffic as the city grows by another 1 million people in the next 30 years. So the challenge I think that I've got to work together with the central government to tackle is how we can get the funding so we can start with light rail, rapid transit, getting a direct rapid transit route from the city centre to the airport. Wouldn't that be good? As we get 3.5 million tourists a year, rising to 5 million. So it's finding the funding and getting the cooperation that needs to occur between local and central government so that we can work together to solve the problems rather than simply pointing the fingers at each other and saying, no, it's your fault, no, it's your fault. That doesn't get us anywhere. We need that cooperative relationship. We'll be working hard to achieve that. We need the funding, but we can't keep putting it on rates.
Yes, and I believe that people need to work together. And as the mayor of Auckland, do you have a timeline for the public transport, the railway, the plans?
Well, with any infrastructure planning, particularly in New Zealand, you know, even when you've made the decisions, it sometimes takes as long as 7 or 8 or 9 years to implement it. We've got the city rail link that is starting under construction. It will be good for Auckland. It will double the capacity of our heavy rail. But we're not going to get that until 2023. We're 2016. That's 7 years away. So what we've got to do is to try to bring forward that planning and bring forward that investment so that we tackle these problems before the problems start to cripple Auckland. We're a great city to live in, but not if people can't afford to live here, and not if people can't get around the city without facing congestion each and every day.
Thank you. And TV33, as the mainstream Chinese media organizations in New Zealand, we do get many feedbacks from our audiences. And one of the biggest issues that they care the most is how to engage in Auckland's construction in the future. And we would like to ask this question on behalf of their needs, to ask you that in what ways can we contribute to Auckland, and how can we reach to the people that needs help?
Well, I think the Chinese community is a great contributor to our city. Our Chinese, our Indian, our ethnic populations are increasing rapidly, but they are people with energy and talent and enthusiasm. They're people with good links back to their countries of origin for the development of trade and economic development in our city. What we need is, of course, to get an Auckland Council whose political makeup, those that are elected to office, also reflects the diversity of our community. And that is something we have not done sufficiently yet. We have some members of the Chinese community on local boards. We don't have members of the Chinese community on our council. So for the next 3 years, I'll be working, as I have for the last 20 or 30 years, closely with the Chinese community so that I can understand your needs and concerns, but also working so that we can find really good candidates that can be elected to our council, and that our council is representative then of the diversity of the modern city of Auckland. To me, diversity brings richness. It doesn't bring, or should not bring, division. And we see that richness in the Lantern Festival, which hundreds of thousands of people attend, the New Year celebrations, the Moon Festival. It's not only economic, it's also cultural, and it's making our city a really interesting place for all of us to live in together.
By the point you said interesting, because I have been stalking your Twitter account just yesterday before we had this interview. You tweeted that you biked down to downtown to join the relaunch of the Nautilus?
The Nautilus.
The Nautilus, yes. And I'm just surprised that a man in his mid-60s still
not
bikes.
Not quite that old yet. I think it's good that people are encouraged to cycle when that's possible. I don't do it most of the time, but I can do it some of the time. It's good for me and my fitness, and I'm a very fit person, but it's good for the city. It's a way of getting around the city. I can do it as quickly as if I'm in the car in the centre city. I can do it without causing any pollution, and actually it's even quicker to get around because you can hop off the bike, cross the pedestrian crossing and hop back on the other side. I can get somewhere faster than if I'm in the car. And the most interesting thing is people look at you and go, "My God, that's the mayor. What's he doing riding a bike?"
Advertising.
Yeah, it is, and it's a good way of engaging with people. It was a beautiful day yesterday. I really enjoyed it, and from time to time I'll do it, and my leg muscles are coping quite well with it.
Congratulations then.
Thank you.
And I read the news article just the other day from staff. I think it mentioned that you might be a boring mayor and you don't care.
I don't think I'll be boring, but I will be consistent and predictable. And what the people of Auckland want, and they gave me a strong mandate, is for a mayor that they can trust with the governance of the city. They don't want a showman, they don't want a clown, they don't want to have somebody that's hitting the headlines for all the wrong reasons. They want somebody that they can have confidence in, and I want to thank the people of Auckland, and in particular the Chinese community, for the confidence that you showed in me in voting me in as mayor with such a large majority. 76,000 majority, that's pretty good.
Thank you, Mr. Goff, and thank you for having us here with you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.